Welcome to the brand new What I Wore feature on my channel. This is Lacquerography, and this is what I wore in January 2024. I wore 11 polishes total. First up, I've got this one right here, which is by Bee's Knees Lacquer. This one is called Celestina, and this one is from the House of Sky and Breath Mystery Bag collection, offered by Bee's Knees Lacquer back in April of 2022. The description for this polish is that it is a white polish with glowy blue shimmer, and it really was exactly just that. This was a beautiful polish that I wore in just 2 coats. It really had a flawless, wintry look. There was a slight bit of sheerness still on my nails in 2 coats, but I really liked that look. It gave it a lightness. It was an icy look, but the finish really was quite flawless, and I enjoyed that slight sheerness on my nails in just 2 coats. This one is Bee's Knees Lacquer, Celestina. The second polish that I wore for January was a surprise favorite. This one is by Cirque Colors, and this one is called Sirenety. There's actually a couple of different variations on the spelling for this polish. This is the version that I have, Sirenety. This polish was part of the holiday collection in November 2022 by Cirque. And actually I picked this one up in a package. It was the Pearl Nacre set that I picked up at this holiday season. I believe it was actually for Black Friday that year. And in it, there were a number of polishes with this similar kind of finish, including the very well-known Cirque Mystic Moonstone. And this one is sort of the greenish version in that set of polishes. So this polish is described as a sheer white pearlescent nail polish with a luscious green sheen and delicate holographic sparkle. And the green sheen was very visible on my nails. It was actually the part that I really wasn't that sure about. I didn't know how much I'd enjoy the green shimmer. Was I ever wrong to worry? This polish ended up being such a favorite for this month, really unexpectedly actually, and I think that was part of why, that unexpected green flash. It had the icy, snowy look that I was after, but the green flash that went along with it was just so unexpected, and it gave a really interesting, eerie warmth to it almost. The hollow sparkle as well really elevated this polish, and yes, this is one that I'm going to enjoy coming back to again and again. And I wore this polish in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. So this one was Cirque Colors, Sirenety or Serenity. This third polish up was another really beautiful one. Again, all those icy vibes. This one is by Polish for Days, and this one is called Full Moon. And this one came out in their Moonlit Metals collection back in 2022. This collection came out in August of that year. This polish is described as a smoky silver holographic flake base with black matte flakes. There was so much beautiful sparkle to this one, and unfortunately, when I wore this one, we were in the midst of actually what has now become known as the cloudiest January on record here in my area. So unfortunately, the sun did not cooperate much at all this month in terms of taking advantage of the gorgeous hollow. Still, this polish was a standout. It looked beautiful also in indoor light, and it did look good outdoors as well. I do look forward to wearing this one again though, in sunnier times. So when I wore this polish, I wore it in 2 really easy coats with a glossy top coat. There was really no texture or anything like that to speak of. It was just beautiful, flaky, sparkly goodness. And I do really look forward to wearing this one again in sunnier times. I couldn't believe my luck this month with all the cloud. It was really unfortunate that the hollow sparkle didn't have its chance to shine, but it was a beautiful polish nonetheless. Polish for days, full moon. This next polish that I wore is by Essie. And this one is called So Gifted, and it's number 165. This is a polish from the Handmade with Love collection from back in April of 2022. And I actually don't have an official description to go along with this polish at this time. Part of the reason why I chose this polish at this time was I thought it went along well with the Pantone color of the year, 2024, which is Peach Fuzz. It happened to be a polish that I already had in my collection that I hadn't tried out yet. It remained an untried, and I thought it was a good time to try it considering the Pantone color for the year for 2024 had just been named not that long ago, and it was Peach Fuzz. So this one was a beautiful cream polish. I wore it in 3 coats to amplify its sort of pillowy effect, and it was a very pillowy polish. I could have easily gotten away with just wearing this one in 2 coats, and I did top it with a glossy top coat. This one was really beautiful. It wore well, and it had great opacity. It really, it had a great formula. I've been really impressed with several of the new releases by Essie. Unfortunately, a lot of the new releases are hard for me to come by here in Canada. So if any Canadians out there do have a great source for getting your hands on some new Essie collections, please add your comments. I'd love to know, other than drugstore sources, where a good source is to get a hold of Essie polishes in Canada. So this one is by Essie. So Gifted, number 165. This next polish up was actually a de-stash find of mine, and this one is by Dimension Nails, and it's called Red Spitting Cobra. This is actually my first time trying out this brand, and I was incredibly impressed. You can see quite a lot of that shimmer glinting in the light there. This was a polish that when I wore it in 2 coats, although it is possible that I may have been able to get by with this in only 1 coat. Since this was my first time trying out this brand on my nails, I thought it best to stick with 2 coats just in case. The formula of this polish was absolutely spectacular. This is a polish that came out in their Desert collection, and the description that goes along with this one is that it is a red shimmer polish. Something that I really enjoyed about this one is it was very unique in my collection. The shimmer was visible on the nails, and also it had a slightly rusty quality about the red. It really is a unique color in my collection, and I was very excited to wear it. I really enjoyed it in winter even. It was another surprise favorite. One that I had just acquired in a de-stash, and I thought, oh, why not get it on my nails now? Yeah, I didn't expect to love it quite as much as I did. And I think I'll be trying out a lot more Dimension Nails products in the very near future. So this one is by Dimension Nails, Red Spitting Cobra. Luckily, the weather cooperated and we had a really nice snowy and freezing cold week for me to wear this polish. And this one is by Dany Vianna. And this one is called Warm Hugs Needed. And this one was from Polish Pickup from back in October 2022. The theme this month for October 2022's Polish Pickup was Sidekicks. This polish was inspired by Olaf. The description that goes along with this polish is that it is a white crelly base packed with clear holographic glitters, black irregular glitter, and orange triangle glitters. It has all those gorgeous, undeniable components that you need to make a snowman. When I wore this polish, I wore it in just 2 coats, and I was just sort of worried that a 3rd coat might have added a little bit too heavy of the glitter component on my nails, and I actually really enjoyed the way it looked in 2 coats. This one was just so whimsical, perfect for the weather, being freezing cold and quite snowy. And I'm also a teacher, and my young elementary students were kind of over the moon looking at my nails and noticing these little carrot noses all over. And it was so much fun, and it was a great look. And I was just very glad that the weather cooperated. So this is by Dany Vianna. Warm Hugs Needed. This next polish up was a really interesting one for me. This one was by Femme Fatale, and it's called The Summer of 1970, and it's from their Now and Then collection. And this polish came out in March of 2019. Now, I don't have an official description for this polish at all, but it was this really interesting golden color with a bit of a green flash to it, and at certain angles it was kind of an orange coppery flash as well. It was a really interesting color, and with how cloudy it was, I found that it brought this extra little bit of sunshine to my nails, and it really was beautiful, and I think just what in a way the doctor ordered for me to bring a little bit of sunshine into my space this month. This wonderfully shifty, sparkly polish was one that I wore in just 3 coats with a glossy top coat. I mean, the shifts were undeniable. The little bit of sparkle from the hollow in there as well added something a little extra. This one really was another standout. This was also my first time trying Femme Fatale, and boy, it was an excellent experience for me. I look forward to trying more from them in the future. So this one is Femme Fatale, The Summer of 1970. This next one up was actually another first for me. This was my first time wearing Mooncat. This polish is by Mooncat, Heavenmetal. This polish was a recent purchase for me. This one came from the Band of Misfits release from September 2023. This polish is described as a sheer white lacquer filled with ultra-fine silver holographic glitter flakies and icy blue shimmer. So again, this one was another one that was just so perfect for the time. It was so perfect for the icy cold winter. We were having several extreme cold days in a row. But unfortunately, despite that freezing cold weather, we had so much cloud cover. So unfortunately, this one wasn't able to come out and play in the sunshine. But it really was a beautiful polish in all light and had a great shiftiness and sparkle all its own without the help of the sunshine this month. This one was a polish that I wore in only 2 coats with a glossy top coat. It was a beautiful one, and this is another one again that I really look forward to trying again in the near future in some sunshine, just so I can see how this one plays in all different lighting conditions. But this one really was a beautiful polish with a gorgeous formula, and it was a lot of fun to wear during the extreme cold days that we experienced this January. So this one is Mooncat, Heavenmetal. This next one up is by Wildflower Lacquer, and this one was called Dolphin Obsession. And this one was from the Back to the 90s Volume 1 collection. And this collection was released back in March of 2023. Interestingly enough, I went with some shifty, sparkly grays, 2 polishes in a row. I don't often do that. Often I like sort of switching up my color scheme a little bit, but the weather was so cold and snowy for quite a stretch of time, and for whatever reason I was just really drawn to this kind of a colorway in these sort of 2 weeks that I was wearing these gray polishes. This one was a polish that I wore in 3 coats. This polish is described as a mauve gray jelly with aqua, violet, magenta, multi-chrome iridescent shimmer, and it was inspired by Dolphin themed everything, and you can certainly see that kind of sheen and shimmer. This one was just unbelievable in every kind of lighting. This was a polish that I wore in 3 coats. They were really easy coats. It was just absolutely beautiful the way this polish played in all different lighting. Again, it was very cloudy in my area, so most of what I saw was the way it played in indoor versus outdoor lighting conditions, and then shifting within indoor lighting because it was so cold. Most of the time outside I was wearing pretty heavy mitts or gloves. I can see myself being drawn to this one again and again throughout all seasons, not just in the winter, for its shiftiness and the way it plays in the light. It's truly a bit of a neutral gray, but far better. I mean, that shift is really something special with this polish. I'm very glad that I was able to get it on my nails. So this one is by Wildflower Lacquer, Dolphin Obsession. This next one up is so dark you can't even see really the label that's printed on there. But this 10th polish, my second last one that I'll be sharing with you for the month of January, this one was by another new to me brand, Chamaeleon Nails. You can kind of see the label there. This polish is called Cats in the Cradle, and this one was a thermal, also a reflective. And this one was from Polish Pickup from October 2023. And the theme this month was 90s grunge. And I have to tell you, this polish was everything my 90s grunge heart desired. So the description that goes along with this polish is that it is a black when cold to gray or colorless when warm thermal with pink and yellow iridescent flakies, black matte flakies, and golden reflective glitters. This polish was so reactive. Again, very cold weather when I wore this one, so I was in and out. Again, I'm a teacher. I was doing yard duty, so in and out of the building, and so there was a lot of extreme temperature conditions going on in my life when I wore this polish. And the shiftiness of this polish, the thermal properties of this one were just unlike any I've ever experienced. And actually at one point we had just come in from recess and my student said, "What's happening to your hands?" And I thought, what is happening to my hands? I thought, I'm very cold. Like they're probably, bright red or white or whatever. And I looked down at my nails and a bunch of the kids that were sitting near me when we were about to do a lesson, they were all looking at my nails change from absolute, like the darkest black to like a clear colorless. And they were actually watching within about 30 seconds the effect of the polish changing color. It was a little bit of an impromptu science lesson there at watching that shift happen. I have never seen such a reactive thermal. And I mean, I think it certainly helped that the weather conditions were what they were when I wore this polish, but it really was a special experience wearing this polish. I chose to wear this polish in only 2 coats. When I was putting it on, even as I was applying this polish, most of the time it was in the warm state, so it had that gray colorless look to it. And I just found that the coverage was really quite impressive, even with that warm state being gray to colorless. The flaky effect, the pooling of those flakies was really beautiful. And I just thought it was the perfect interpretation of a 90s grunge theme, watching this inky black when cold polish shift into this clear, and then seeing it almost looked at different times like my fingers were perhaps almost dipped in ink. I mean, over my lunch hour, I had to go off and photocopy some materials for my class, and I came back and sat at the lunch table, and I was drinking a hot coffee as well, and I noticed this staff member that I didn't know that well was kind of looking down at my hands, and it occurred to me afterwards. I thought, oh, I wonder if it was in that funny like state of mixed clear to black, and she probably thought that I was sort of covered in ink in some way after returning from the photocopier. But this was such a fun polish. It was so effective, and all I really wanted was this polish, some amazing grunge CDs, and my Doc Martens, and this was just a really fun polish. Chamaeleon nails, cats in the cradle. This final polish was by KB Shimmer, and this one is called Taupe Notch. And this is just the most incredible neutral. I wore this polish in 3 coats, although I could have easily stopped in 2. This was a nice plump neutral polish, kind of the perfect taupe. It really was this perfect blend of where gray meets brown. It was that perfect kind of mousy taupe color, really elegant and beautiful, and just the right amount of holographic in there to give it that little bit of extra sparkle. It really was beautiful, elegant, highly work appropriate, really cozy looking too for the winter, but I could see myself wanting to wear this all year round. I couldn't believe that this one was a polish that I hadn't worn before. This was actually a polish that was released by KB Shimmer back in winter of 2018, so this one's been around for quite a while, but I only picked it up quite recently at my local stockist, which is Harlow & Co. And this one I know is going to be a polish in high rotation in my collection. Just such a beautiful, elegant neutral, that perfect mix between gray and taupe, that perfect amount of holographic sparkle to just elevate it that little bit more. So this one, great way to end up the month. This one was by KB Shimmer, Taupe Notch. So that's it for the 11 polishes that I wore this January. I'm wondering, do you have any of these polishes? Have you given them a try before? What are your thoughts on some of these polishes? I have to admit, I really enjoyed wearing every single one of these 11 polishes, and I very much look forward to keeping them in my collection and wearing them time and time again. So interesting that all 11 of these for me were untrieds, and they brought me such joy in such a cloudy and cold month here this January of 2024. This January, did you have any favorite polishes that you wore? Add your comments down below and we'll continue on the conversation. This What I Wore is a new addition to my channel. If you enjoy this kind of What I Wore content, please consider giving this video a like. It lets me know that I'm doing a good job and that you'd like to see more of this type of content in the future. Also, if you do enjoy nail-related content, please consider subscribing. I release nail-related content as often as I can, and by subscribing, you won't miss out on any of the fun. Thanks so much for joining me for this What I Wore in January 2024. Hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.